going? Thank you so much for taking out the time today to meet with me. Really excited to kick off the Chief Future Officer series with you. I will give you a bit of context again. The reason we decided to start off this series is to have a platform where we can bring together top finance leaders in the Middle East to discuss and share insights on the future of finance in the region. And that's exactly what we're going to do here today. I just want to have a regular conversation with you, get to know you, and get your perspective on different topics in finance. So, shall we begin?
My pleasure.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to start with the first question. I was going through your LinkedIn and I realized that you've had a really extensive career across different sectors, public, private, you've done IPOs, transformations. But before we get into like the details of that, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about your journey.
It's actually a journey. I just created a story to you to make this introduction easy for you and for the listener later. It's a really like a flight and airplane journey. Starting from preparation of your luggage or from the university, college years, preparing for this long journey. It's maybe 25, 30 years or more of flights where you start your journey in your early life, preparing for the luggage, making sure that everything is in order. Then you fly. Before you fly, you have to be on ground, driving very fast until you reach a certain energetic engine speed and to let you fly. Once you fly, then you go up and up till you reach to the clouds and exceed it, and then you stabilize your flight for a while. Then in this flight and in this journey, you might have some turbulence, you might have some bad weather, you need maybe to do an emergency landing at certain points of time in your life, or you fly again and again until you are reaching to your destination. Maybe to take a rest a little bit and then to go on a different journey in your life and to try to fly to a different places over the world, maybe different companies like this. So I think in my 30 years and more of experience in finance, since I started my career early in 1994, in American Express, that was maybe the ground time where you were learning a lot, joining a lot of functions and departments, learning accounting, learning different roles like from accountant to chief accountant to supervisor. Then you prepare with your qualification degree of the CPA to build up your career on a professional way. Then moving from different aspect in your life to be a finance director or finance manager and CFO, and helping companies all over the world. And when you join a company from different perspective, as you said, sometimes they are government companies or international sector or different sectors. Companies need to be transformed, their financials. Then I help a lot of companies in their also journeys from time to time until we reach to that stabilization where you be an expert CFO in your certain industries. Now I'm there, like almost 54 years old, with more than 30 years of experience. Alhamdulillah, we can say it's a successful career path.
No, definitely. Like I was going through your LinkedIn and that's what I was thinking that mashallah, it's been like an incredible journey that you've had. So kudos to you. And I love the way that you explained it as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty accurate.
Yes.
And I was thinking about the turbulence. I knew that, you're going to say that's where the downs come actually. So that's very clever and smart. Okay. Coming to the next question. So you worked in both public and private sectors. What's something you learned in government sectors that private sectors often overlook and vice versa?
Yes. Look back to the period between 2005 and 2010. I was a senior manager in advisory sector for KPMG. It's a big four audit firm in the advisory and accounting advisory capacity role. At that time, majority of my clients were governmental organization. The governmental organization in Saudi Arabia, they are modern companies, or they are investing a lot in the transformation And at the time, there was initiatives for privatization of the companies or public-private partnership, PPP. So our role at that time were to help those companies and organizations to integrate their financials from the public sector to a private sector financial or to commercial financial, or transfer them from the cash basis governmental accounting to accrual basis commercial accounting. It was an enrichment and opportunities for me to understand that the dynamics in governmental organization is totally different from the private sector. Private sector has a lot of limitations because of the owners who are management, who are in charge of leading their business with a limited budget. We do have restrictions on certain aspect of their business plans, and competitive are huge, and they are in a more of a commercial decision-making perspective, like profit and loss. But in public sector, they do have certain liberties in growing their business, in taking decisions, in moving on with the governmental ambitious objectives and goals. So whenever they do have requirement to grow or to develop new systems, they invest. And our role to make that investment payback for this organization to improve their operation and their financials as well.
Yeah. It's funny you said that. My assumption was that the public sector would have more restrictions because, they have more compliance that they have to take care of. But because the bigger the company, the more structure there is. But you're also very right that when it comes to private sectors, there's a lot of limitation in what you can do, the restrictions that you have in terms of like the budgets, the mindset of the management. So that's a really good example to kind of highlight how there are limitations on both ends. Yeah. And at the end of the day, both the sides have their own limitations and perks at the end of the day. Okay, coming to the next question. You've led the IPO for the National Company for Learning and Education. That's a big deal. What's something people don't talk about enough when it comes to taking a family-run company public, both the upside and the downside?
Question. This is a really good question. Many companies they plan to go public and they being very enthusiastic about this vision. If the owner or the management or the board of directors, the chairman has a strategic decision or a strategic to go public, they took the decision. But in reality, sometimes they face a lot of issues internally and externally from compliance perspective, from the change management. So people really take the decision and they go into this journey. So it might be tough or hard for them to achieve their objective in their time limit that they have set for themselves. For example, some companies, they said, okay, we need to go public maybe in 6 months. And they put all the resources and they start a big project to go, but they find out in the future, like after 1 or 2 years, that they were not prepared enough, or the organization does need to do a lot of changes internally before they took the decision and make it happen with a little lower cost, or some cost could be avoided, or certain investment should be made first before they take the decision. So these are the things that once people go public, they might forget their long journey back from the years to achieve this objective, or they did not achieve it in the right time that they were wished to have to go public at that time. But I saw a successful story, IPO of NCLE. For me, it was a success story. I joined them when they were in the last stage of last year of the preparation for the going public. And I monitored their performance since then. The company has been transformed into a different game-changing place now in the market. They are leading the education market in Saudi. And I think their decision was right. And they could expand in a good speed. they could expand in the market of the education sector, and they are leading the market right now.
No, I think you're right. It's very important to like make that call at the right time instead of like just rushing into it. This brings us to the next question. Okay, so there's one thing that I have seen a lot, like a lot of times when transformation in finance is talked about, it it often like sounds like a buzzword, right? Like we're just saying it for the sake of saying it. But I was like going through your LinkedIn and the work that you've done, and you've actually done the real work, like Oracle rollouts, restructuring, commercializing entities. What does transformation actually look like in the messy middle to you?
Yeah, brilliant story. It's about transformation. Yeah. Really, transformation. When we talk, do you remember when we talk about the airplane flights journey? Here, where the turbulence happens, where the companies really struggle at certain point in time to implement a new system, and they find them at certain point in time they do have a legacy system where they used to work for years or 20, 30 years of business process or as is situation where they used to do the business this way, and all the management, all the staff, and the workforce in the company, the culture itself is being built around this business and these people for a long, long time. So when you try to start transforming the financials and implementing SAP or Microsoft Dynamics or nowadays Odoo is taking place also in the small companies, then it's good to see the future that we are a modern company implementing ERP. But it looks to me as when you have somebody who are sleeping in his bedroom in a very deep sleep state and he's very comfortable having his own dreams, and you try to wake him up to go to work. It will be very difficult for the people in my view who are used to a certain process for a long time. They are like the sleepy person who doesn't want to wake up and to see the life around him. So really, it's sometimes change management required to take place initially. The management and the leadership of the organization should take the flag and to take the decision and push it from their strength position, not to let it go as per people comfort zone where nobody wants to move out of his comfort zone to take another challenge. So you feel a lot of what we call it restrictions or challenges or
Reluctance
sometimes
from
you
the
call
people.
reluctant and resistant is the right word for that.
Yes, resistance. Uh, No, I think that's very correct because a lot of times, I think as CFOs or like finance leaders, then it becomes, the job to actually also like do things that get them prepared for it, right? Like motivate them for the change that is about to come. So, how do you go about actually motivating the workforce or like preparing them for the change that is about to come to avoid
Yes.
that
See,
resistance?
it helped me a lot. Do you remember our flight? I will go back and forth to this example. At the preparation stage, if you were prepared enough at the beginning. So I was lucky in my career at a certain point in time where I was in American Express. The company put me in a long-term change agent. They call it training. It's a change management training. That was like somewhere in I think in Bahrain earlier in the 90s. And so I spent 1 week in a very deep training, detailed training courses with a very good international company from Australia. And they took us through these journeys and how to change the people mindset. So, in fact, the company wanted at that time to change my mindset and the teams. So they put us not only that, and they want me to play the role of the change agent. So the objective was to nominate number of staff. I was one of them to teach them how to change, how to manage the change, and how to be the change agent in the organization later on. So, for example, they feed us with the information, they're telling us what are the resistance, what are the comfort zone, how to get out of that. So, how to be like a seed in the new in the new land where we will water it and it will plant and it will grow with the team as well. So I was lucky, and that.
Yeah.
So since then, I never forgot that training course because it was detailed and funny and impact my life and my career. How to accept the change, not to resist. Mainly when you see the objectives, when you see the plan, when you see the future. So it's not only about financials, not only about the numbers. It is very important as well, but it's about people, communication. You need to have a lot of communication skills. You need to prepare the people, first of all, to see your objective, to convince the people, because everybody will resist by nature because they are in their comfort
Yeah.
zone. They are sleeping for a while and they don't want to wake up. They don't want to do additional work if they don't see additional benefits. So change is not an easy thing for the people in their personal life or their career and for the company as well. And at that day, I still remember this word, the quote. He said, everything in life is changing except something will be the same. The only rule that is not changing in life, the only rule that is not changing in life is everything is changing. So
Changing.
since then, I use that.
It's a
Yeah.
paradox. Yeah, it's a paradox at the end of the day. I think like it's very good that you were made to be a change agent.
Yes.
That's
it
the
is.
word. And I feel like if like more companies actually have those people, it would like it would just like make things so much easier for because there's someone in charge to actually make sure that people are adapting to change in a positive way rather than resisting. Because you, like you said, resistance will be there. We're waking those people up from those sweet dreams that they have. So they're naturally going to be resistant. Okay. Coming to the next question. One thing that I've been thinking about is that, look, finance is a game of numbers, right? And a lot of people that I talk to on a daily basis, I see that a lot of finance professionals struggle to break out of the numbers only perception, right? I want to ask you, like, what do you think really separates those who stay behind the spreadsheet from those who grow into like real business partners at the end of the day as finance leaders?
Yeah, it actually it happened. It happened to me in the middle of the slides. Remember, then we have to change the direction at certain point in time. So when you were in charge of issuing a monthly or a daily or a weekly reports to the management, but it was good enough for me to have this stage in my life when I was like in a senior positions or in a supervisory position. Maybe 70% of your time should be behind the numbers and the Excel sheets and preparing the reports for the management to take the decisions. But once you finish this stage, you need to transform yourself also, not to be only the person who is punching the numbers and Excel sheets to come up with the reports, because you will be at that time the decision maker. And you need to set up the strategic mindset. And this happens once you do grow in your career to a management level, middle management or upper management. Then you have a team under you to manage or to. And sometimes people say it's not a manager or a people management; it's a performance management. So you manage the people performance. Then your time start being distributed between the management time that you need to spend on improving your team, teaching your team, the transforming or what you call it, knowledge sharing or knowledge transfer. So then you start being like a giver than receiver. Once you start being giving your experience, you teach people. So small things that you used to do every day, relying on your Excel sheet capacity and your Excel sheet advanced level. Then if you still do it this way, so you will be keep doing it for a long time and you forgot other important things. So once you teach your team how to do these things and you give them your knowledge, then they feel that they trust you more and they feel that you are You're teaching them something new, and they've been loyal to the company and to you as well, to start doing that kind of time-consuming work, and you free yourself to a more important strategic place in the company where you can free your mind to think strategically, to sit with the management of the other department, with the human resources of the operation, to know what is their pain points, what are their discussions happening on every year with other departments about their plans, what is the budget of the company. You sit with the CEO much more time than before to know exactly where is the company heading to. Then you can articulate this in a business plan, and you can monitor its implementation. So I think as a CFO, the role is more than 70% of strategic and 30% of numbers and doing things by yourself. If you make sure that you prepare your team well to do that on your behalf.
No, I totally get that. I feel like I started managing people a little while back, and the biggest struggle with that is learning how to delegate.
Yeah.
Because you feel like how much time it's gonna take me. If it's gonna take my team 4 times, might as well do it. But I think that's such a wrong mindset that as managers, like, we slowly come out of, because like you said, it's about knowledge transfer, knowledge sharing, and then preparing your team to be autonomous enough that they're operating, and then you can focus on the bigger picture. So I think that's really good advice. And as a new manager, I can relate as
Yes.
well.
They teach us in the management
So
when you prepare, and that's also was a good things in my career that I spent almost like 5.5 years with KPMG as one of the big four.
yeah,
Those company put enough time and resources to improve your skills in different stage, whether you are manager or the senior manager, and the new manager workshops. They are teaching you how to manage this thing. And I think I remember one of the words that has been said in some of the trainings that I got there. The instructor was saying also this three word: delegate, delegate, delegate. Because yeah, you have
reinforce,
to delegate. You
reinforce,
cannot, and my
reinforce.
manager also said the point: don't do everything by yourself. You must learn how to delegate. And it was a challenge at one point
Yeah,
in time. And
yeah.
alhamdulillah, we are now able to balance between delegation and taking decisions.
Totally agreed. Coming to the next question, and I think this is one that I really want to know your point of view on. So we can see how big AI in finance or tech in finance have become as like words or ideas, right? And AI is creeping into everything from reporting to reconciliation. Where do you think finance teams should lean in when it comes to AI? And where should they be cautious, or where do you think the human touch needs to remain?
See, today by chance, I was in a meeting with one of the companies that who introduces the AI solution on what, and they telling me what service that they can provide about how AI agent can help the company doing this. Before this era of AI, and there was people who was talking about automating the business process. To be honest, I think right now in the market, the talks and the speeches and the events is much more than the reality. As you can see, everybody talks about AI, everybody talks about transformation and automation, and from the government perspective, from the private sector. But in reality, I meet a lot of friends, I see a lot of companies, and still they are behind on implementing this thing. People using
Yeah.
only ChatGPT and from based on their personal attitude on certain aspect, but they still cannot implement AI in their business process. Some of them are afraid, and the people say no, it's risky. We cannot rely on. We are talking about resisting in transformation on implementing, for example, new ERP at that level. So what about this huge impact? People still afraid of interacting with the AI because they think that it might be wrong, it cannot rely on it. And I spoke with some people yesterday by chance also. One of them said, The common say now is it's stupid not to use AI at all, but it's also stupid to rely on AI. That people should be carefully because AI now is in everything in life, in personal life, in business, in companies. But people, some I can say a good percentage of people and companies now start using it proper way, improving their business, improving their time to do the task. I myself start doing certain things using AI, where I can analyze a big documents, which can take from me a couple of maybe hours to read it, to analyze it, to bunch the numbers, and to make the Excel sheet, to make the formulas. Maybe I would be happy if I spend a couple of days doing a report, but I am the one who did it by myself. So I know every cell, every formula, and I would be the only one who can use this report and play with it, make differences, or change the charts, and so on and so forth. But if I look back, this report took for me a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and I'm building it day after day. Then after a couple of months, this report become obsolete, or if the Excel sheet has been broken to some reason, or the wrong formula has been entered, or somebody who played the file, then you feel sad that there's something wrong, and there should be some certain kind of technology that could take this effort or this risk from us. And luckily enough that we are living now in the era of AI, then you give them this sheet, and in a couple of minutes you find what you have done previously is being done. Yeah, and a report is being written. So don't take the report at that time and submit to the board. For sure, it is stupidity as well. But you should take the report and read it, adjust it, make sure you add your personal touch on it. Then you can balance the risk of putting AI in your business and the benefit out of it.
No, I think that's completely right. We can use AI to help us out, but we can't completely rely on it. That human element of actually validating what AI is spitting out is very important. This made me think of something else, Amr. So how do you encourage your team to use more of AI where it can help them? Or like, how do you guide them when it comes to the usage of AI in finance?
See, it's like a father and son relationship. We call it in KPMG mission and vision and values. They teach us at that time the number one rule is you lead by example. You cannot teach somebody something and force him to use it. You need to build in your team the capability of learning and matching or be in line with the improvement happening in the AI and in the IT and modern technology. You need to teach them how to use the technology and lead by example. So if they saw you using it and make good out of it, then they will try to test it. So from time to time, when I speak to my team, then I see somebody struggle with certain documents or certain task that he need to do or take much more time. So I speak frankly. I tell, hey, come here. Have you tried ChatGPT for this, or have you tried to download or upload this report and see what will come to you? It's not a Google search. It's not something that you need to do by yourself. But I tell them from time to time, if you try this tool, it might help. I know that I'm not an expert as well in the AI. I think there's so much time to learn again some new modules or new chatbot or new financial tools specific for finance. We're still also a little bit behind on that. We need to put more time until we find out the way we can use AI in automating our whether existing legacy system or the new ERP. There is a big room. I think in the next couple of years, it will be totally different from now.
No, for sure, you're right. This brings me to the next question. You've spent a lot of years in the Saudi market now. How do you think Vision 2030 is showing up in the bigger business conversations today? Are you seeing real shifts as of now?
See, I can tell you, Habiba, that being in Saudi for 30 years does not mean that I work only in Saudi Arabia. For quite some time, I was heading the international finance in one of the big companies in Saudi Arabia, in the retail industry, the Middle East, as an international finance director. So I was in charge of the finance sector in different countries like North Africa, that is Morocco, Egypt, Algeria, also in the CIS countries, in Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Belarus, where we have an expansion plan to expand the company from Saudi Arabia to an international sector and international countries. Where also we do some business in UK, certain companies in the US as well. So I see a big picture different from people maybe who spend their life in the Saudi market. But intensively, maybe 90% were in the Saudi market, you are right. You can remember back, it was not that called before the 2030 vision. Remember, there was 2024 and we were 2020. So those visions that when it was designed, it was based on actual achievement. I think I remember it was called before 2024, when we have lived in this aspect of growth and companies and the Saudi governments. They had their ambitious plans and maybe the big shift, and the big growth were led, driven by the 2030 at a few at the later years. Since 2020, we are growing and we are following the government ambitious plans. The plans has been achieved, and so this give you also a wide and wider view. And that if you have put in a plan and you achieved it, why don't you dream bigger and achieve bigger plans, maybe earlier than what you do expect. So same to the company as well. I saw one of the companies where I work that they have dreamed in 5 years to triple or to multiply their profits for time five, and they achieved it. Whether if you are in a growth environment, the country are growing, the community are growing as well. That means it gives you the ambitious also to plan big and achieve bigger targets in the near future. So it's not a 10-year plan. It's you can reach 4 years from now we'll achieve the objective.
Yeah, no, that's really great that the plan that was made actually being implemented. Okay, Samra, I want to understand your point of view on this. If a first time CFO asked you today, what should I focus on in my first 90 days? What would you tell them?
Okay. To answer this question, it really depends on the company and the person and objective of his hiring. If the company was hiring him to do a quick change or to set up certain objectives or setting up new finance department, it will depend on what is his objective. For example, if you need to set up things, you need to set up it fast and understand the company first. So the first couple of days or weeks will let you understand the companies from its inside rather than getting the big picture from the interview stage. So he need to prepare for the first 90 days in a plan, in a written plan. He should write a detailed plan for himself. I will tell him that you need to do like a weekly plan and you need to get inputs from the management after 2 weeks and after 4 weeks as well. First of all, you need to be, and I remember one of the companies that I worked maybe in the 2010. I heard a good word from the CEO who met me, and he said, "We need you to hit the ground running." So it was good. That means, we need to tell you everything upfront, so you hit the ground running. So you don't waste the time to gather data or. So he first thing he need to use his notice period in the company better, understand things. He might conduct certain meeting with the management with the superiors, with the juniors as well, his staff. So he gathered as much information before he joined the company and put a plan in his first week to hit the ground running, understand the business, understand the reports, read the company financials, put all the information about the company's capacity to read and understand. Don't get shy from asking questions. You should not be an expert in certain points, and don't show that you are a hero that is coming to change the whole world of the company. You will be a member of the team, and you will do have certain limitation because you will be having some maybe difficulties in complying with certain people dynamics or people thinking that you are going to take some of their power. Like this, he has to be very careful. He has to be very smart. It's not a small role. It's not a junior role. It's a very big strategic making decision for him to take this role. He must be able to deal with big people. And also one of my managers in the past, when I become a director, they said, see, if you are in the upper management or the C level management, it's much difficult and much different from being in the supervisory level or middle management level because you deal with big people, people who also reach to these roles after long journeys. So you are not the only one expert in the room. So don't show up too much and don't talk too much. So a lot of advices I can help people whenever they consult with me and that I understand their situation and I give them specific advice based on their situation.
No, I think that's really good advice. Like at the end of the day, like be a collaborator and not show off. There are people who know more or people who know just as much. So definitely. And I think this brings me to the last question to round things off. I think we've discussed about where the plane took off from, and we've seen the ups and downs as well, the turbulence. It would only be fair to see where the plane is headed. So, Amr, where do you think this flight is headed to in the next 5 years? Where do you see your journey taking you in the next 5 years?
Yes, I'm still on the flight, or maybe in the last miles, or maybe I will be landing in a good country or a good, what we can say. It's a journey. It's a flight. So if you land in one place, you might take another flight to a different place. But based maybe on my age or my experience, I think I reached my last 5 years, or before I reached 60, or when I was planning to retire. But I've been surprised when I go to my home country in my vacation, and I went to my social insurance or social security office to pay some subscriptions. And they surprised me when they say the retirement is not a 60 anymore, it's a 65. So they gave me a good chance that to work another 10 years in my career. That's fine. And maybe people mortality age has been most of the country now giving a chance to the old people because they are still healthy and they're still productive. So why do we kill these experiences earlier, 5 years earlier? So I think we do have 5 years or another 10 years. Maybe five of them will be in a similar role, maybe in the same company or in a good company where our career takes us to. And the rest, the last 5 years also could be consulting capacity or strategic consulting capacity, leading big project, maybe on my own or with the cooperation with consulting firms or accounting companies. I plan to be active for the next 10 years. I changed my mind to retire on the 60s because still we have ambitious to achieve and flies new countries I want to visit, new journey I want to take. It's a good journey actually to be always active and attractive for the company to land and fly, to land and fly, until maybe to reach our final destination where we should live quiet and retire in our countries back, live with my kids, and land in my homeland in Egypt maybe after a while. That's my dream. Alhamdulillah, I achieved good things in my life. I have a daughter and son, of which my daughter is got married last year. My son graduated
Wow.
also. So now me and my wife will be living a quiet life later. And,
Peaceful.
yeah. And next 5 years, we will still be active in the job market.
Inshallah. And I have to add, you don't look a day over 45. So I think there could be another 20-year runway
Hopefully,
there.
yeah, hopefully, why not?
Hopefully, inshallah. All right. Thank you so much, Amr. It was lovely talking to you. I definitely learned a lot. Thank you so much for taking out the time and doing this and participating in the Chief Future Officer series. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye bye.